Donald Trump suffers major immigration legal blow. A federal judge in Illinois has dismissed a lawsuit filed by the Trump administration that attempted to strike down the state's workplace privacy protections. On August 19, Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois ruled that the Illinois Right to Privacy in the Workplace Act does not conflict with federal immigration law. The decision marks an important test of how far federal immigration enforcement can reach into state-level labor regulation. Importance of the decision. The ruling matters because it reinforces the limits of federal authority and preserves states' traditional power to regulate employment practices. By siding with Illinois, the court ensured that workers continue to have protections against misuse of verification systems like E-Verify. The outcome safeguards employee rights during hiring, draws a boundary between immigration control and workplace regulation, and sets a precedent for other states exploring similar protections. Central question of preemption. The legal dispute revolved around preemption, whether federal law overrides Illinois statute. The Trump administration pointed to the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, arguing that Illinois' rules conflicted with federal efforts to prevent unauthorized employment. Illinois' law, however, focuses on how verification systems are used, not on determining immigration status. Judge Coleman concluded that the statute was not expressly preempted and did not intrude on federal powers related to immigration or foreign affairs. The federal government's argument. The Justice Department claimed that Illinois' requirements, including employee notifications and penalties for misuse of E-Verify, created unlawful sanctions on employers, which IRCA forbids states from imposing. Officials also suggested that the state's rules could hinder federal enforcement by making it harder to identify unauthorized workers. Yet, during arguments, the administration struggled to point to specific conflicts within the text of the law. Judge Coleman criticized this approach as overly broad, even calling it absurd because it would strip states of their historic role in regulating workplaces. Judge Coleman's reasoning. In her ruling, Coleman stressed that states have long exercised authority over employment matters under their police powers. Illinois' law, she explained, does not penalize the act of hiring unauthorized workers, but instead governs procedures to protect all employees. She wrote that a person's immigration or work authorization status is irrelevant in determining compliance with the law. The government's claim that Illinois' rules might encourage unauthorized workers to evade detection was rejected as speculative. In her view, such weak reasoning could not justify preemption of a valid state law. Implications for Trump's immigration agenda. The outcome is a setback for the Trump administration's broader immigration agenda, which often sought to expand federal authority at the expense of state independence. By affirming Illinois' protections, the ruling demonstrated that immigration enforcement cannot automatically erase state-level privacy laws. Other states that have enacted or considered similar measures may now feel more confident in their ability to defend them. The ruling also underscores that the federal government must show a clear legal conflict to invalidate state statutes in employment matters. Public commentary and legal perspectives. Judge Coleman's strong language resonated beyond the courtroom. Her criticism of the administration's sweeping interpretation of IRCA was widely quoted, with Politico's Kyle Cheney highlighting the decision as a major blow to Trump's efforts to immigration agenda. Legal scholars viewed the case as part of a larger debate about federalism and executive power. George Mason University professor Ilya Suman previously warned that unchecked executive authority in immigration could erode both separation of powers and state autonomy. This decision reflects a judicial check against such overreach. Broader constitutional implications. The case illustrates the continuing importance of federalism in shaping national policy. While the federal government controls immigration enforcement, states remain free to regulate workplace conditions unless Congress explicitly says otherwise. By upholding Illinois' law, the court confirmed that privacy protections and procedural safeguards fall within state authority. This balance ensures that states can develop innovative labor protections without automatically being overridden by federal agencies. Next steps in the case. The Trump administration is expected to appeal to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, with the possibility of Supreme Court review. Until then, Illinois' workplace privacy law remains in full effect, offering employees strong protections against misuse of verification tools. If higher courts affirm Coleman's reasoning, the decision could shape national precedent and encourage other states to adopt similar safeguards. Coleman closed her opinion by noting that federal immigration authority is not without limits, emphasizing that preemption requires clear evidence of conflict, not speculation. Conclusion: a victory for state autonomy. The Illinois ruling delivers a meaningful reminder that while Washington controls immigration, states retain authority over employment protections. Coleman's decision defends worker privacy, checks federal overreach, and reinforces constitutional balance between state and federal power. The decision stands as a sharp reminder that federal immigration power has limits, leaving states with room to safeguard worker rights while challenging Washington's expansive enforcement efforts. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
Donald Trump suffers major immigration legal blow. A federal judge in Illinois dismissed a Trump administration lawsuit seeking to block the state's right to privacy in the Workplace Act, ruling it does not conflict with a federal immigration law. Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman held that the law regulates how verification systems like E-Verify are used, not immigration status, and rejected the Justice Department broad claims under the Immigration Reform and Control Act is absurd. The ruling limits federal overreach, protects work privacy, and affirms state authority in employment regulation. The administration is expected to appeal with a possible review by the Supreme Court.